have sent our journalists back into the communities where they were the day of the storm and the days after to kind of check in on people and see where things stand. Colton Chavez spent some time in Bonita Springs, and he is there this morning live on Imperial Shores Parkway, where, Colton, I know obviously right after the storm we knew that there was a reason to be there and to cover the damage, but did you ever expect that a year later you would still be there talking about issues?
No, Amy, and I want to kind of bring up something that you said in the earlier hour, and it was a lot of these moments seem to be sobering for us because standing here now, it's a completely different scene, thankfully, than what it was 1 year ago when I was here on the day of Hurricane Ian. It was you and Trent that I was talking to, and we were talking about, hey, how high are the water levels going to go up? What do people need to know in this area? What can we tell the people who still have service to help them get through this? And the day after the storm is what brought me back to this corner again. And right here behind me was where I saw a table, a 6-foot table with 3 people handing out water and coffee. And I asked them, I said, why are you guys out here right now? And they say, you know, yeah, we have damage at our own homes, but we want to make sure we're helping out anybody we can. Well, a week later, I would return to this exact corner, and those 3 people turned into 300, and they were no longer just handing out water, but they were calling themselves Camp Bonita Hope. Right after Hurricane Ian, Jay Belanger tells me that most of the people in this neighborhood were hopeless.
People are still living here. They're living in their cars. They're living in mold-ridden houses.
As Jay reflects on that moment with me now 1 year later, he said the only way he thought to inspire hope was through action.
So I immediately jumped into action, grabbed some water, made some sandwiches, and actually just put up a 6-foot table and just said, what can we do to help?
That table eventually became Camp Bonita Hope, a grassroots group with more than 300 volunteers, who we got to see hand out more than 100,000 meals and deliver supplies to people's front doors.
I don't know how to thank them and to thank you too.
Right here in front of the American Legion Post 303, Jay staged Camp Bonita Hope outside for the first 5 months after Ian.
We had executives that took off their ties to help out. We had individuals who were working 2-3 jobs and wanted to come down to the camp and just work for an hour to 2 to help serve meals.
And it's still happening a year later. Volunteers like Darlene still checking on the American Legion.
I worked about 130 hours, I think.
But Jay says the home base still needs some work.
All of this was stripped out. Restrooms and everything were over here, another seating area over there.
Where was the water at?
The water was probably way up to here.
He says he hopes donations through the Camp Bonita Hope's GoFundMe will help with the American Legion's recovery.
This was Camp Bonita Hope's living and breathing spot.
Just like it did for so many others after Hurricane Ian. In Bonita Springs, Colton Chavez, Fox 4. And Amy, Trent, joining us back here live, where you saw them stacking those boxes, handing out that food. It was in this exact spot I'm in now. And also when you got that walkthrough of American Legion Post 303, this is that building. And still to this day, you can't go inside because it's been completely gutted out. And I remember speaking with our fellow journalists like Chris Earl, Amy Wegman, Trent, and talking with them, and they said, you're going to be telling stories about our community years after this storm. And here we are again 1 year later, and there are still businesses, there are still homes, as we've been continuing to tell you, that need our help. So if you do want to connect with Camp Bonita Hope, because their job isn't done yet either, I have a link live on our website at fox4now.com. But for now, we're live in Bonita Springs. I'll send it back to Trent and Amy.